know?
And we're hearing this from our own research, from people that we meet, that we talk to. Oh yeah, I have this thing where I'm very hardened with emotions, and I used to cry a lot when I was a kid, and now you say I have masculine FI, but I don't ever cry. In fact, my emotions don't move at all. We'll hear that quite a bit with the masculine FIs. They're like, yeah, but my emotions don't move. Like, yeah.
Right. We're like, that makes
Probably.
sense. Right.
Yeah.
So just breaking down the parts, let's say you have that in common with Gary Vee as far as masculine feelings, masculine values, like you're able to choose when to use your emotional values. I care about this. I don't care about that. I'm going to cry about this. I'm not going to cry about this.
But not until
right now.
I was like, I'd say 39.
Right, because you
know
had to actually work out that muscle. Now, if it's a savior, you're going to be able to put more hours into it. You know, so you will actually be like, I cried so much that ...
I learned how to use it.
Right. And so for the next two guys, we're going to take a look at Gary Vee and Eugene Lee Yang. So it's going to be not just masculine feelings, but also feelings extrovertedly. So you need to process your feelings outward. It's going to be like, the tribe values this. The tribe's attention moves this
That's
way.
be
The tribe
hard,
cares about... I know.
FE, you're processing multiple avenues of emotion.
Right. I know. So it'd be like extroverted processing, and then, so feelings, masculine, and extroverted process. Those are the three things that we're actually going to be like combining, looking at these two people. So let's take a look. We're going to hear Gary Vee say the same story as Eugene Lee Yang. No, they didn't coordinate it. So they're going to talk about they were so empathetic that they eventually, like age 8 or whatever it was, had to stop the crying.
I cried so much from 1 to 8. From 0 to 8, Gary Vaynerchuk cried every day. I was so emotional. My new hypothesis is the following. I am so empathetic. And when I say crying, when I was sad, when my mom was sad, when I saw somebody else was sad, when like watching a movie, TV, I didn't like the way that person got picked on in first grade, I cry. Like literally, this is a scene in my head right now. I know what it is. A kid got picked on in class, I see it, I just start crying. My belief is that I might be so empathetic.
You like people a lot.
That I think I started building a reverse behavior of detachment. To even get through by being so empathetic, I created some sort of thing within myself that made me go the complete other way to make life palpable. And I practiced it so hard, and that I probably was naturally born so empathetic, and that my counter reaction was to detach myself from those feelings, that I'm now playing at such a bridge of, I don't give a fuck, I care about everybody.
You know, anybody can be like, I'm so empathetic. It's like, I was doing this so much, it was causing a intense reoccurring pattern problem in my life that I needed to do something about it. So that goes back to what you were saying earlier. If you have so much FI pain and problem, if you don't put a cap on it and you don't actually resolve that, you don't make it.
Mine was only for me.
Right,
I didn't care too much. But interesting that how he talked about that. Like it was like if it just feels like that Cyclops guy where he's got to like, okay, this is on all the time.
All the time.
How do I stop this?
Yes.
And like God, like usually when people give descriptions of themselves, it's so weird.
Sometimes they're peacocking.
Yeah, or they're just so weird and wacky. But like how Gary Vee is describing it, like that's exactly kind of what we're seeing.
Oh, absolutely.
Like, that does seem very accurate. That yes, him being Savior FE, he would be so empathetic that you're either going to just fall down this well of a cry machine forever, or find some way to callous it or balance it, like how he's talking about.
And you'd watch his life. Like, by the way, go watch Gary Vee's life. Is that actually something you see playing out in his life? Oh yeah, the guy stays for hours answering people's questions, hours caring more about someone else's life than his own.
But then can quickly turn on don't give a fuck when he needs to.
Right, that's impressive. Okay, so we're gonna watch Eugene Lee Yang. No, they don't know each other. No, they didn't script this. They are gonna say about the same story. Let's take a look.
I don't cry. I'm not really someone who cries.
Why don't you cry?
Well, I cried a lot as a little kid. All the time. My parents told me that I was always very sensitive. I could tell if someone was emotionally hurting, and I think that just always put me in a weird mood. So I was a very depressed kid. Now to say that I cried a lot, that was very indicative of just being a kid who also got pushed around by everybody. Eventually I did the thing where I hardened my shell, and dad and mom said stop crying, and I stopped crying after I was like 12, and I just didn't cry after that.
Tell me more about that age.
As a young kid, I always thought I was bad. I just thought I was bad naturally. I had a strong belief that I was not only bad, but I was wrong. There was something wrong with me. A lot of my journey was kind of figuring out that I was never inherently a bad person.
So it's like I marvel when I hear that somebody could even actually callous their ability to be like wildly out of control of it, or that it would be so intense you'd have to do something about it, you know?
It's what we're hearing. Like we're hearing it from people that have, especially masculine feeling savior.
I know, right?
FI or FE, and not so much, but masculine and savior.
Right.
And I don't know, I could just give I'm just throwing
Scientists at Tulane University's Primate Research Center announced they have taught a gorilla that someday it will die. Nate Meredith has more in the lab report.
Thanks, Dan. In an historic first, a team of primatologists has succeeded in teaching Quigley, a western lowland gorilla, the concept of mortality and its inevitable doom. Lana Burrows and Philip Townsend are the researchers leading the project.
When we first started with Quigley, he was just a normal, happy ape, not a care in the world.
The first thing we did was we taught him patterns like
Right.
red block, blue block, green block, over and over. Then it became a pattern of gorilla born, gorilla grow, gorilla die, over and over.
Right.
The researchers then showed Quigley photographs of dead, dying gorillas while communicating the phrases "you someday" and "no choice."
Quigley, you die. You will die soon.
The researchers say at first Quigley could only communicate rudimentary fears about his own death, but he soon moved on to expressing more complex emotions, like indifference and self-hatred. And just 2 days ago, Philip Townsend and his colleagues even witnessed what they believed to have been a panic attack in Quigley.
He was letting out these anguished cries and banging his head against the wall, and I just thought, we did it.
The Tulane scientists believe that we may be able to teach a gorilla to resort to alcoholism, or even try to kill itself in as little as a decade. The scientists next plan to test whether the results with Quigley can be replicated with other species. They are in the initial stages of teaching bunny rabbits that they will all die.
You will both die.